If somebody said to you, here, take this bag of bricks and just carry it around for the rest of your life, you'll be right. Go on, take it. Would you be like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a great idea. That makes so much sense. Thank you. I'll take that bag of bricks and I'll just carry it with me everywhere I go. Or would you be like, no, thanks. That sounds like a burden. I'd rather not do that. Thank you. Yet this is what we're doing to ourselves when we're choosing to carry around emotions, burdensome emotions like grief or worry or jealousy or anxiety or frustration or anger or any of those emotions that we are holding and carrying with us is just as burdensome as carrying a bag of bricks. And if somebody noticed that you were carrying a bag of bricks, maybe they saw that you had this particular fear, for example, or you always reacted with jealousy about this, or you always seem to have this grief within you. And they said, hey, I can see you're carrying a bag of bricks. Why don't you just put it down? Just drop it, drop the bag. Would you know how to do it? Would you know how to just let go of that emotion? Because the truth is, when we carry these negative emotions, we sometimes think they're going to help us, or we think we're going to get something out of them, but we absolutely do not. They keep us stuck and limited and going around and around in circles. And there's so much on the other side of them. I was inspired recently to run an event to help people to let go of burdensome emotions, because I'd seen how people were responding and reacting to the events of the world, what's going on with the worldwide pandemic, and then Russia and the conflict in Ukraine. And I could see there was a lot of really strong emotion that, because it's such a unique time in history, people are not really sure what to do with these emotions and how to act appropriately with these strong emotions going on. So I ran an event that explains a little bit why we hold on to emotions and how we let go of them, and then runs us through a meditation for releasing this strong emotion, this negative emotion that we're holding, so we can allow the light that's on the other side to shine through, to bring the love back. Because the love always knows what to do, but the negative emotion will just keep us spinning in chaos. So you can use this video to help you with any feeling that you're feeling, whether it's about the world or local communities or whatever that you're upset about, or whether it's about your anything else, anything at all in your life, any emotion that you've been carrying. You'll also see a link in the description to my website, a web page where you can download the meditation and keep it and use it whenever you need to, whenever you want to release any emotion. So enjoy this edited replay of this event that I just ran. And if you have any questions, please comment and I will get back to you.
So basically, our energy system works best when it's flowing, like this beautiful stream of water. When we're in the flow, when our emotions are flowing, our feelings are flowing, we feel good, don't we? We feel that there's synchronicities. People call it in the flow. That's that kind of really beautiful state of well-being that we enjoy, like nice river flowing downstream, when our emotions are in harmony and they're flowing and it's all good. What happened though when we were young and past lives and all sorts, a long time ago, we came across feelings, something happened, we felt these feelings come up in our bodies. We didn't know what to do with them. We didn't like them. We didn't want to feel them. And maybe it wasn't appropriate either for us to actually exhibit them or feel them at the time. So what we did was we put a rock in that flow to block it, to stop it, so we wouldn't feel that feeling. And this is a diagram of a river flowing. So, and there's a rock there which makes the water circulate like that to create something called an eddy, which you probably have heard, the term when there's that circling little vortex in a river. And so this is what we've got. This is what we've created. When we didn't want to feel something, we create these eddies in our energy system that keep that feeling there. So rather than the feeling moving on and processing through and being let go and being released, that feeling that we didn't want to feel can't go. So it stays there and it just circulates in our energy system like that. And in the Hindu tradition, they call that a samskara. So it's a blocked, trapped energy spot. And we've got heaps of them, unfortunately. So this is what it looks like in an actual river. Stick a rock in there and it makes the water do this circulating thing. Here's another image of that. If you put a rock there, the water comes around and creates this eddy. This is another river current showing how the eddies circulate like this. So if you imagine your energy system and your body has all these little eddies like that. And this is a really cool one in a frozen river somewhere, a massive eddy. And here's another one. So you can imagine that in our bodies, we have all of these trapped emotions. Like I drew this funny wee picture because I couldn't find anything good on the internet to steal, to show us like how we have these wee trapped pockets of energy all through our body, because we've been collecting them, throughout this life and other lives, and we've got heaps of them. And what happens is that these samskaras, these blocked energy spots, they have their own magnetic energy. So they're actually attracting things to them that will trigger them. They want to get triggered because that's their opportunity to be released. So every time we come across a similar thing, someone says that particular thing, it always gets you, boom, you feel insecurity, you feel angry, or you feel whatever. It triggers that little blocked, trapped emotion there. And as a mass consciousness, a global consciousness, we have all these samskaras too. We, as a global entity, we have all these blocked spots of energy, these trapped emotions that are all stored in our mass consciousness that get triggered, that get brought up. It works the same on the individual and, mass level. But so what we do and why we keep them in there is because when they get triggered, we don't really know what to do with them if, when we haven't been taught or we don't really know anything about that. So usually what we do is we either suppress or avoid them by going and having a drink, having something to eat, watching telly, talking to someone, I don't know, anything, just don't want to feel that feeling. So we'll do anything to avoid it. Or we'll deny it completely and just hide from it. Like if someone says, "Oh, are you feeling a bit jealous about that?" And you might go, "No, I'm not feeling jealous. What are you talking about?" And then you deny it. You deny it to yourself. You deny it to them, but you deny it to yourself. And that just keeps it trapped because you're not allowing it to move if you're hiding it. Or the classic example of what you can see happening, in the world at the moment a lot is that we're blaming and projecting that energy that we're feeling, that pain that we've got triggered within us. We're pushing it out there and saying it's your fault. It's because of that, it's this and that, when really it's coming from within our own energy system. So the truth is that it's actually okay to feel anything. Like none of those feelings that we feel are bad, so to speak. And thinking they're bad, that causes the problem. They're just an energy, they're just a vibration, a vibe, a frequency, if you like, a hum, a zizz, a ping in our energy field. And if we don't put a label on it or we judge it and feel it and allow it to move, then it can just move. And that's all that needs to happen, rather than us doing these things to suppress or hide, deny or project it. It's just really not productive to do those things, because then we've got that stuck energy in there, lowering our vibration and keeping us stuck in the same old way of being, around and around and around we go. And this is what we see in the world. We're going around and around and around, and the similar kind of patterns, as Kathy was saying about World War, oh no, who was saying that? Someone was saying about World War II, and it looks similar, you know, what we're discovering now about what's going on looks similar to that. And so it just kind of circulates. We circulate through these samskaras. And what happens is when those samskaras are triggered, we're kind of looking through them, like we put our goggles on, so we can only see through the emotion or the feeling of whatever it is that we're feeling. We're looking through it like we've got our goggles on, like this silly examples here that I've got. It's like we are looking through the lens of that feeling. We're looking through it, and so everything gets limited to that feeling. Our thoughts and all the things that we can access are only limited to the vibrational scope of that feeling. We can't find stuff outside of that. We're just stuck in that one vibration, which is really annoying when you consider what Einstein said, which is that we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So we can't find the solution from within that trigger. We can't, it was not there, right? All that's there is thoughts that compound the trigger, you know, things to blame it on, other things that give it reality. That's only kind of things that we can find when we're feeling triggered. So in order to get to the solution or get some sanity, we need to release that energy so that we can rise above it and allow something higher, wiser, and more loving to inspire us, to give us the solution that we've been looking for. So I believe the world is crying out for new solutions that are above and beyond the habitual emotional patterns of the mass consciousness. We just keep creating from the same need for power or the same, you know, insecurity or vulnerability or whatever it might be. We just keep creating from these lower energies. Whereas if we learned how to let them go and how to bring in the light and bring in the love and the sanity that's already there beyond them, we could create some really beautiful solutions to what's going on in the world. It doesn't have to be a doomsday scenario. That's the worst case scenario. That if it's doomsday, that's us all losing our shit. That's us going and like freaking out and looting and hoarding and you know, scrambling for resources, and there's not enough food and there's this and that, and that is not acting from sanity, is it? That's acting from a freak out, which are the kind of things that we're wanting to let go of, to move through, because the truth is, you know, we are source energy, we are extensions of source. And we are totally eternal, totally safe, totally at home right now, this very moment. There's no reason to freak out. This is all going to pass, whatever is the drama is currently at the moment. So we need to find those sanity, those logical, sane, connected to love solutions that are beyond. I feel like the goal is conscious, calm action that arises from being connected to loving sanity, as I said, rather than acting on those impulse reactions, which, you know what, they create karma. That's the problem. We're just keeping ourselves locked in to the stuff we don't want when we act from a misaligned place, because we're going to create, you know, another flow back from that we're then going to have to deal with after. And this is how Gandhi lived, right? He's a really good example for this time. You've probably all thought of him recently because of what we're going through. But, you know, he was completely non-violent, as you know, and he appealed to people's higher values and their higher nature. So he talked to people. He talked to their higher nature. He talked directly to the part of them who knows, who is wise, the higher values that everyone really has and cherishes. He kind of brought that out in people, and he led this movement where there was no violence. It was completely peaceful. Everyone maintained their composure. you know, generally there were times when people did freak out and stuff, but the way that he was leading it was that it was non-violent. They were going to completely stand for what they were standing for, but it was all going to be done through this really peaceful process that was really talking to people's higher values, and it worked. You know, he was able to overthrow you know, the people that were trying to take over his country. So kudos to Gandhi, man. We've got a lot to learn from that guy. So how to let go of stuck emotions. The thing is, right, if we could just let them go, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we just go, oh, I don't want to feel that insecurity. God, it feels awful. I don't want to feel that anger, that hate, that rage. I'm just going to let it go. You know, wouldn't it be great if it was that easy that we could just do that? The thing is, the mind gets a bit tricky, and the mind sometimes doesn't want us to let go of these emotions. So we need to see what's going on, you know, and with our minds, with our egos, that's causing us to, you know, get stuck with letting go of stuckness. So let me explain that. There are 3 reasons mainly why we don't just let the emotion move. Like why can't we just let it move? You know, why? What's going on? So the first thing is we're in denial of what the actual emotion is. And this is really common, right? We don't want to admit that we're actually feeling a certain way. So many people do this. We all do this, right? You know, we don't want to admit, for example, that we really feel so hateful at the moment because we're trying to exude this spiritual persona where, you know, I'm all love and light and happiness and la la la. So, you know, no, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. I feel like this, you know, but when really the energy is there in you of hate. And that's okay that it's there. It's okay. It's not, there's no judgment about that. But if we don't admit it and open to it, it can't move. That's the problem. So if we're denying that we're feeling a certain way, then we can't let it go. It will just stay stuck there because we're not offering it to the light. We're hiding it. We're tucking it away where no one will see it. And if no one will see it, well, it's going to stay there, isn't it? The other thing we do is we protect the emotion. So this often happens with anger. So the anger will come up. So as a response to something that's happened, we'll get angry. But when you really feel into it, it's the anger is protecting a deep, like a grief, a sadness, a vulnerability. That's really the problem. That vulnerability, that deep kind of feeling of abandonment maybe, or hurt deep down, that's the real emotion there. But the anger comes up to protect it. So it says, raw, you know, don't come near my vulnerable bit, stay away, you know, and it will pretend that it's the emotion so that the real emotion that needed to be let go of can't be found. And that's a very sneaky way that we stay stuck. The other thing is we flip and enjoy it. And this is the crazy thing, right? Especially at the moment, can't you just see it? People love this whole drama, and they're like the fight and the action and the being right and you're wrong and I'm right, and this whole energy. You know, some people are really getting into it, and you've got to admit that sometimes you might enjoy the negative emotion. Sometimes it's weird how us humans do this, right? But we do kind of get off on, oh, I feel so crap today. Oh God. And then we kind of, you know, it's a reason for us to go and pamper ourselves, or, you know, do nothing, eat crappy food and watch TV or something like that. The thing I'm trying to say is there's a payoff, right? There's a payoff to the negative emotion. And that's why we don't let it go, because we don't want to. We don't want to. We're getting something out of it. Like we're getting attention, we're getting a reason not to go to work, for example, or it's a good reason for us not to have to do this thing we don't really want to do, or it means that if we're feeling negative or we're upset or whatever, then we don't have to put ourselves out there. We don't have to stand for something. Or there's lots of reasons, if you're honest with yourself, why you're getting something out of the negative emotion. So these are the 3 main things, and it's important to really, really absorb this, because you can catch yourself doing this is when we do the letting go process soon, you will probably see that there's a couple of layers to what you're letting go of. There's the actual feeling, and then there's this other part that's either judging the feeling, reacting to the feeling, or trying to hide the feeling, or, you know, there's quite often at least a couple of layers there. So if you're aware that this is the way that the ego and the mind works to keep you stuck, because ultimately, without going into too much depth about it, the ego doesn't want your salvation because then it wouldn't exist. So it's wanting to keep you believing these things and staying stuck in the smallness and the limitedness that these emotions are giving you. The key is that if you want to let go, you have to want to do it. You have to be willing to do it. And this seems like it's obvious, but it's the key, because we think we want to do it, but there's all these other parts that don't. We want to deny it, we want to protect it, and we're actually enjoying it. So we actually don't want to let it go. So if you can bring these parts of you together, and you can be like, yeah, I totally do want to let go of this negative feeling, because I really believe that what's on the other side is love, and I want that more. I want that more than what this negative emotion is giving me. If you want that more, then you're going to let it go, and you're going to get it. You're going to get the good stuff. So this is where we want to be. So yeah, when we let low vibrational emotions move through, we make space for clarity, creativity, and healing to occur. And even though we don't know what's on the other side of their negative emotion, it is always better, always 100% every single time. And this is another reason why we maybe don't want to let go of old negative emotions, is because we're so familiar with them. They're like our left arm. You know, we made an identity out of them. They're part of us. It's part of our personality almost, you know. So letting go of that's so scary. Like, what will it be like? What will I have to do? What's going to be there? And that can hold us back. But it's always better, always, always, always. And we have to let go in faith that we know that it will be, because we don't actually know what it's going to be like when we've let go, because we haven't got a reference point yet for that. We have no idea, but we've just got to trust that as we let go of something that's not working for us, something beautiful is going to rush in to replace it. And it always does. And it's so cool. Alrighty. So closing your eyes. Taking some nice deep breaths. Feeling your muscles and your mind relaxing as you breathe out. Like you're just dropping all the stuff you've been up to so far today. Letting yourself come into this moment. And starting to think about this trigger, this feeling that this current time on earth seems to bring up again and again. And it's okay to allow that to happen. So don't be afraid that if I bring up this feeling, that means something bad is going to happen. It's really healthy for you to feel into this now. So thinking of the last time it got triggered, maybe what you read or what somebody said to you, running the scenario through your mind, feeling the reaction in your body, just staying with that feeling and allowing it, inviting it, letting it grow and expand so you can really feel it. Noticing the thoughts that are coming out of that feeling. And they're just the obvious ones. What thoughts just generate from that feeling? Keep listening to the thoughts, because the more you listen to them, the more they'll reveal to you. So keep listening. What thoughts are coming out of this feeling? And notice how those thoughts then create more of the feeling, how they're this like spiral, this cycle that's going around. Thought, feeling, thought, feeling. So watch this and listen to the thoughts. Feel the feeling. And you're telling yourself, I know that I'm not that thought and feeling, that the fact that I can watch this happening means that there's a part of me that is detached from this feeling and from this thought, who can just observe it completely neutrally. I know that I'm truly not my thoughts and feelings. I know my true self is really at home right now. I'm safe. I'm at home, completely loved. I'm just witnessing these thoughts and feelings. So I'm just zooming out so that I can just watch this and know it's not me. I'm creating space between it and me. And then you're asking yourself now, am I willing to let this thought feeling loop go? Am I willing to release it, trusting that it will be replaced with something so much better, even though I don't know what that is right now? Am I willing to let it go? And just feel if any resistance comes up to that or not. And if there is resistance coming up, and there's a thought that says, no, I don't want to let it go, then listen to what that part is saying and ask, am I willing to let go of this as well? So once you've got the go ahead that you're willing to let these emotions go, you're willing, you want to, now you just relax all around the area of your body where this feeling is coming out of. Seems to be housed in this area of your body. So completely relax that area. Relaxing your whole body also, just feeling everything going soft and floppy, especially the area where this feeling is. Imagining even your energy body is so fluid and open. Nothing is holding this sensation in place. Nothing's keeping it there. Everything's opening and relaxing so that it can just move on its own. And it'll just start moving up your chakras. You just keep relaxing around it. Every time it does a little movement up, you just keep relaxing where it goes to. And a really good thing to say to yourself to help it to move is, I totally forgive myself for holding on to this feeling for so long. I know I was only just doing the best I could with the resources I had. And there's no blame, no judgment. I totally forgive myself for that. And I allow myself to let this go now. And I totally forgive anyone who seems to have been involved in this feeling I've got. I know they were only doing the best they could. They can't do anything better than that. It's kind of all just a misunderstanding. And I'm willing to just let this energy move. I don't want to hold on to anyone or blame anyone. I just want to feel better. So I'm going to let go. And you're relaxing totally. If it seems to get stuck at another place as it's going up, then you just do the same thing. Just totally relax around that area. So there's nothing holding it in place. You're forgiving. You're willing. You're ready to let it go. And you can say, I totally am ready now to give this to source energy, to God, to my guides, or whoever it is that you talk to. I give this over, this feeling. I give it to you. Take it, take all of it, take every thought associated with it, take all the feelings, take them from me, turn them into a miracle, and then return it to me healed. Letting it go in trust and complete faith. you to imagine if you could never, ever find this feeling again, if you could never find these thoughts, just like a program got deleted from your computer and you just couldn't find it, it was gone. If you couldn't find these thoughts or the feeling, what would you be like? And even better than that, if this feeling that has been deleted, if it could be replaced with love, and loving thoughts started completely filling your being, like your heart just started opening, and all of this love just started pouring in to take the place of what left. What would you be like now that you were filled with the love instead of those other feelings? Get a vision of that. And asking yourself, how could I react or respond now in this kind of situation that usually triggers me? How do I choose to respond to this now? And how can I act from this place of love instead? Okay, you're doing so well. Just to finish off with, let's imagine our planet. And all the happenings and goings on here, all the people, all the buildings, all the structures, all the physical stuff. Let's see that within all that physical stuff, all the people, all the plants, all the animals, all the stuff, it's filled with light. And no matter who those people are, the essence of that person is source energy. And that we're looking around and seeing that we're really all the same thing. Imagine the light within every single person growing brighter and stronger as they realize who they really are. And that light that's shining within everybody on this planet starts to fill this whole planet with light. Okay. And then slowly just bringing yourself back to the awareness of your body, remembering where you are, what day it is, and wiggling your toes and your fingers. Taking a deep breath and slowly coming back to everyday awareness.
Yeah. I didn't want to come out of that one. Yes, for me. So what came up for me was anger and frustration and fear over not being in control of the situation, the fear of what's to come. So not having control, frustration and anger for the lies and deceit and, just all this unjust. So that was quite strong for me. And once I'd released it, it was just such bliss. It was just so great, and just trusting that everything was fine. And it was lovely, actually. So with the love, like that was awesome. And then I just wanted to spread it out and to everybody. So I just wanted to share the love and the knowledge that everything will be fine, and just trust and we'll be all good. And so it was lovely. I loved it.
Well, it was beautiful. I actually felt extremely calm, and it's almost like the outcome's going to be good. So just sort of, and I agree, I didn't actually want to come out of it either. It was just such a lovely place to be. It was almost like me exuding the calm to everybody else. That makes sense. That's about all I had.
The two emotions I came up with that I was working on was shame and unworthiness. So totally different than what we were kind of talking about. But it felt really good to replace that with love. And it was a really lovely place to be. Definitely. That was a great meditation.